What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to yet another What If Naruto movie. Today, we're going to be covering how the events of Naruto would change if Naruto was the reincarnation of Son Wukong. Now, before you guys start commenting down below, is this the God of High School version? No, it's not. This is actually going to be covering the normal Son Wukong, and it's not exactly going to be giving him everything that he has, because if I did that, Naruto would solo the verse when he's like 4 years old. So it's like, I gotta make it make sense somehow. That said though, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys go on to enjoy this video in any way, shape, or form, make sure to do your boy a huge favor by slapping the like button, as it'll help this video do a ton better in the algorithm. And also, check out the artist who made the Naruto image for the thumbnail. Her link will be down below. Her name is Xehther. You can find her on Instagram. That said, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the video.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
We start our story off in the perspective of a traveler. Now this dude would pretty much just be wandering through the Leaf Village. He was just walking by when suddenly he sensed a strange energy. He heard a lot of chaos and saw explosions going off into the distance. He decided to go towards it. Wouldn't you know it, it was the same day that Kurama would have escaped and would pretty much be about to kill Naruto, when suddenly Minato and Kushina would throw themselves in the way and die instead. This would lead Naruto to pretty much sit there crying, and Kushina to essentially tell Naruto to be good in the future, while Minato would pretty much be doing his absolute best to hold off the Nine Tails long enough for them to be able to finally seal it inside of him, and for Naruto to pretty much survive as long as he possibly can. What ends up happening after this is Kushina and Minato would draw their final breaths, and after this happens, the man would finally wander towards the direction of Naruto. This strange energy that he was sensing emanating off of the world was coming off of Naruto, and it was as if it was this strange godlike energy. It was strange, but it was there, and it was very faint, but it was there. And when he walked over to this baby and saw the eyes, he could just tell this was a special baby, and his parents just died in front of him. So the traveler would grab Naruto with his blanket and hold him as he smiles and begins walking off. He leaves the village. A couple minutes later, Hiruzen would pop up out of nowhere, and Kushina, before she could finally, have anything happen, she like wakes up again. She's like, right as the man is walking away, right? Like she clings onto life and like comes back like for an instant. She's like, take care of Naruto. And what would end up happening after this is that the man hears those words as Kushina just falls back down, and Naruto is just continuing to cry, but he silences him with a smile and a goofy face. And Naruto then from here just kind of has a large gargantuan time skip to when he's actually going to be 16 years old. And you guys might be wondering, why 16, Xehther? Why is this? Why are you doing this to us? Let me explain. For this story to work and for Naruto to have the drip that he has in the thumbnail, he has to be aged up. He's not going to be wearing that drip at 13 years old when he's like 4'2". It's not happening. So instead, I decided to change the events of Naruto to basically make it so that ninjas are not allowed to be ninjas until they're at least 16 years old. So all the characters in this What If are going to be aged up just a tiny bit for this story to actually work out. And yeah, so just kind of deal with it. It's not really that big of a deal. It's just a little bit of an age difference, and the events of Naruto is still pretty much going to be happening in their canonical order. So Zabuza is still going to attack around the same time. You guys get the picture. Anyways, though, basically what ends up happening during this large time skip is that Naruto, alongside the traveler, would have become a traveler himself, going from village to town to nation, wandering and learning things about each and every single different new new culture. The one area that they would never have gone back to during these 16 years would be the Leaf Village. In the very beginning of this traveling journey-like thing, Naruto would see a lot of martial arts. He would see a lot of different cultures, and he would be overall fascinated by the world that is the ninja world, chakra, the fighting styles, the foods, the way of life. It interested him, and Naruto was brought in by everything that this world had to offer. Naruto was excited and eager to learn everything. And what helped out more than anything at all was the fact that Naruto was perhaps one of the quickest learners of all time. It was almost as if he could see something and learn it upon instinct. It was incredible. Naruto is a special person. And this is something that was made very apparent early on when he ended up gaining a very solid grasp over chakra control with only a couple of days worth of learning it. Even with Kurama trying to mess with his chakra flow and make Naruto have a harder time, Naruto is just that gifted. And through the years of traveling, Naruto would go to different villages and see different fighting styles, but eventually he would find one that he found very interesting, monkey style, which is what Naruto would pretty much hone as his own and perfect to its maximum output. So Naruto now has the same exact fighting style as Son Wukong basically, with a lot of versatility, and has a bunch of other different fighting styles that he learned from other people, such as just basic taijutsu skills, kung fu, karate, or stuff like that basically. Naruto learns a lot of things, and during this time he would age up rapidly and become somewhat of a prodigy alongside the side of his mentor Saejima, who would pretty much raise him ever since he was a baby. It would be discovered in a couple of years that Saejima would develop an unsightly disease, and eventually his day would finally come where, he passes out. Eventually what ends up happening is, and by passes out I mean passed away, right? But basically what happens is on this current day, like during these last couple of months, Naruto was beginning to get a little bit like wanting to know where he's from, like wanting to know who his parents are, wanting to know, where he was born, wanting to know about his past. And it was strange to Saejima because this was something that Naruto never truly cared about until now. But Naruto seemed to bring it up more and more often, and seeing as Saejima was going to be going away for some time and won't be seeing Naruto for a couple of years, he figured he might as well tell Naruto everything. He tells Naruto to come here and sit down. Naruto does as he would say, "Listen, boy, it's been a couple of years since I found you, and I think you deserve to know where you're from. I'm sorry I've kept it a secret from you for so long, but I figured that there was no point in telling you. I mean, you're not really attached to that village anymore, are you?" And Naruto looks back at him and says, "I mean, not in like spirit or anything like that, but I mean, I would like to go, know what my beginnings were, my roots. Everyone always talks about that, but I never had any." And Naruto, just looks down as Saejima looks back up at him and says, "Understandable, Naruto." Suddenly, he puts a hand over his shoulder and begins to tell him the tale of how he found him, how he was a miracle child, and how his parents sacrificed their lives for him. How it was underneath the destruction of everything that he was found. Under immense pressure, a diamond was formed, and that diamond was Naruto. Naruto asks, "So, is that where you actually got my name? Did you know my real name, or did you name me yourself?" And Saejima says, "Oh no, your mother was actually the one who uttered your name as her final breath." And Naruto would say, "Do you remember what she looked like?" He would say, "Yes, she was a fiery spirit indeed. She had red hair, black eyes, or blue, black eyes. Your father, he had hair just like you. And I'm pretty sure if his eyes were to be opened, he would probably have the same color eyes as you. So you do bear a heavy resemblance to your father. But after being raised by me for so many years, I don't know how much resemblance you can have. You're raised by another man that wasn't him. And even though everybody says the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, this might be one of those exceptions." He holds one of Naruto's hands tightly as he tells him that he wants him to discover this for himself, that this is a journey he won't be able to follow him with. And he would smile as he tells Naruto to take care, and he pretty much ends up telling Naruto to, follow his heart and be the boy that he's known ever since he was a kid. As he pretty much closes his eyes and his head falls, and Naruto looks at his master, smiles, not even crying because of his death, but smiles, knowing that he was such a great man that he's going to a better place. And Naruto after this pretty much just grabs his bags and pretty much begins walking towards the land of Konoha, where he finally ends up making it there. And once he's at the village gates, he would think, so this is where I was born. I guess I have a lot to learn about this place. As he suddenly begins to walk towards the gate, a bunch of ninja would walk towards Naruto and tell him who he is and what he's doing here, what business he has. Naruto says that he was born here and that he simply wants to talk to the Kage of the village, ask him, who his parents were and stuff like that. And the two ninjas would be like, well, you need to have a certain reason other than that. We can't just allow people in our village. Naruto looks at them and he's like, but I just told you I was born here. Like, I'm a Konoha citizen. Like, my father told me. And they're like, kid, beat it, get lost. You're not getting in this village. Naruto looks at them and he's like, are you serious? And they look at him and say, dead serious. They go to grab kunais and Naruto just simply says, didn't want to have to do this. He grabs his staff from off of his back, he spins it, and he begins getting into a fighting style as he looks back at them and just goes, whoa, like Po does from Kung Fu Panda. I thought it was just a funny reference, but basically he does this and he pretty much just rushes at them and absolutely pounds them with a stick. Pause. But he pretty much destroys them with his bow staff, and eventually he makes his way inside of the village, asking around where the Hokage residence is. He ends up finding out that it's a tower in the middle of the village, and when he finds this out, he pretty much just begins to make his walk towards the direction of Hiruzen. Once he gets close, he pretty much ends up realizing that this village is actually very pretty. It's nice. The people here seem welcoming. Nobody's been rude to him or anything. And Naruto walks towards the place where Hiruzen would be at. He goes to the receptionist and asks to speak to the Hokage, and she says that you need a meeting, you need a scheduled appointment to speak with the Hokage, that most people don't just get to talk to him. And Naruto says, my name is Naruto, can you please get him down here? And the receptionist is like, no, sorry, I can't do that. She's being extremely nice to Naruto. There's no hostility, none of that. So Naruto decides that he's not going to do nothing to her and just break in. So he walks outside smiling as he says, all right, well, have a good day, right? And she's like, you too. And Naruto walks out of the building and just body flickers into Hiruzen's office, or just guesses which one it is, right? He gets it right, and he stands in there as, he opens the window. Immediately, two Anbu members come busting in, and Naruto just knocks them out immediately, hitting pressure points as they fall to the ground. And Naruto looks up at Hiruzen as, he has this strange little hat on him, the one that the monkey's wearing in the thumbnail. And, he takes it off, his blonde hair falls, his eyes, they kind of shimmer in the sunlight. And Hiruzen is like, good God, Naruto. Suddenly, Naruto looks at Hiruzen and says, you know my name? And Hiruzen is like, it's you. But I thought you were. And Naruto looks back at Hiruzen and is just like, you thought I was dead, didn't you? He's like, well, surprise, surprise. I came back from the dead to visit you. My old man told me that this is apparently where I was born. And Hiruzen looks back at Naruto and he's like, where have you been all these years, Naruto boy? But Naruto just looks back at him and he's like, oh, I was just with my dad, Saejima. He's been training me. We've been wandering nations for so long that, I pretty much know everything except for this place, this village, the land of fire. It's strange that I know everything else except for this. And Hiruzen looks back at him and he just says, you are the spitting image of your father. If he was here right now, he would be so proud of you. He would then look to Naruto and ask him, how his life has been, how he's been, how he feels, what's going through his mind right now. And Naruto with this current moment is, I know I said 16, but we're going to cut back and say 15 and a half. He's about to be 16, but not really, right? But basically what ends up happening is Naruto looks to Hiruzen and he tells him he's doing great, that he's lived a phenomenal life and that he just wanted to come back to learn about where he started, where he was born, what his mother and father were like. And he generally just wanted to, be in this village. He's explored everything else, so he wants to know what this place is like. Hiruzen says, your mom and dad, so you already know who they are, right? And Naruto says, yeah, I was told that it was a blonde man and a woman with red hair. Hiruzen sits him down and says, well, I got a lot of stories to tell you. Hours would pass and Hiruzen and Naruto would find themselves laughing at everything as the Anbu would finally wake up and be like, "Sir, this dude didn't attack?" He's like, "Nah, he's an old friend." And Naruto and Hiruzen have just a blast of a day. Eventually Naruto ends up talking to Hiruzen as he gets more and more tipsy, and Hiruzen would say, "How strong is he?" Naruto says that he's pretty talented for his age, and Hiruzen's like, "Oh yeah, well why don't you show me something, kid?" Eventually though, Naruto pretty much goes outside with Hiruzen, and what pretty much goes down is that they both have a little sparring match, right? During this sparring match, Hiruzen would be extremely impressed at Naruto because he's able to rapidly evade and counterattack most of his moves, and his jutsus are actually backed up with other counterattacks. Like Hiruzen would shoot a fire style, Naruto would shoot back a water style bullet. Hiruzen would pretty much try to shoot a large fire style, Naruto would create a mud wall jutsu. Hiruzen would try to shoot a water style attack, Naruto would lunge into the air using wind style as he seemingly floats up. And Hiruzen looks up at Naruto and is like, "What is that jutsu?" Naruto says, "Don't know, I created it, haven't really given it a name yet." And it would formulate into the shape of like a cloud. As Hiruzen looks at this thing and he's like, "Incredible." He then lands onto the ground grabbing his staff and lunges down as he smacks it into the ground. And Hiruzen is like, "You use a bow staff?" And Naruto's like, "Yup. Always have," as he swings once again, and Hiruzen like lunges back saying, "Monkey King Enma, summon," like summoning jutsu, Monkey King Enma, right? And Monkey King comes out and he transforms it to his adamantian staff form, and he begins to fight back against Naruto, and they're having an absolute blast. Obviously Hiruzen's not going all the way out, he's at more like 70% right now, but Naruto's keeping up with a Hokage. Like, keep that in mind, right? Keep in mind, Naruto, I'm not sure if I want to make Naruto immortal yet or not, but I'm thinking about it still, right? Like, as the video progresses, I guess we'll find out how we'll make that happen. But for now, we're just going to be saying that he's a regular mortal, and he's very strong. He has like the adaptability of Monkey King, right? Monkey see, monkey do, right? And basically he continues fighting off against Hiruzen, having an absolute blast. They're both just like pretty much having fun. And after all would be said and done, Hiruzen would ask Naruto what he thought about, his staff. Naruto says that staff has to be the most greatest thing ever. And Hiruzen would say, "I'm glad you like it because I was actually planning on offering you this." As Naruto looks to Hiruzen, and Hiruzen just pretty much says that he can actually get him a scroll of summoning contract with the Monkey King Enma, that Enma actually has a child, and that he could probably, summon him. And Naruto's like, "Really now?" And pretty much what ends up happening here is Naruto gets the summoning contract and ends up actually summoning like literally the same monkey that we see in the thumbnail is the same one that Naruto summons. And he would just be like transform right after getting to know him and everything. And the monkey would transform into a slimmer, like smaller version that can still stretch, and it's still made out of adamantium, right? And Naruto spins it around and he's like, "Whoa, this is awesome," right? He basically looks towards the direction of Hiruzen and says, "Thanks, old man." And Hiruzen just says, "Don't mention it, kid." After this, he pretty much goes on to tell Naruto that since he's here in the village, he would actually like him to get into the academy and pretty much make it so that, he kind of gets into, the village and gets acquainted with their ninja progression stuff. Since he's going to be here for a while, he might as well become a ninja with the skill and talent level. And Naruto agrees because Hiruzen's telling him and he's been nice to him this whole time. So he's like, "You know what? I'll do it." He goes in the very next day with his drip, like look at his fit, bro. Like this man Naruto is saucy. You don't get any more drippy than what Naruto currently looks like, right? But Naruto, he's pulling all the baddies. Naruto walks into the classroom and people are all like, "Who's he?" Girls in the classroom will be like, "You can sit next to me." And Naruto just looks up, smiles, and he walks over towards this girl and just sits down. And everyone's just looking at him, and Ino's just like, "Whoa, like this dude right here, he looks so much better than Sasuke." Sasuke at this point looks like the one that would be in Taka, and he's about the same. He's about like 2 times stronger than how he would have been in like the academy, just because I don't want to make everybody like OP just because of their age. Like it just wouldn't work that way. But let's just say he's like Sharingan level, but but he hasn't activated it yet because he still hasn't had stressful situations. They go into the academy much later, so it kind of like prevents them from getting as strong. But Sasuke's still very, very talented nonetheless, right? He had more time to train. So I definitely think that he would be, decently more powerful than the original one. Naruto, during his time in the academy, would actually end up getting underneath Sasuke's skin just due to the fact that Naruto came in and pretty much took all of his girls, took all of the attention from him, and now Naruto is like this big bad and everyone's praising him and talking about how skilled he is. Everybody pretty much keeps alluding to the fact that he might be more powerful than Sasuke himself. Naruto wouldn't sit there and be like, yeah, I'm stronger than him or anything, but it would slowly begin to get into his head, and eventually what would end up happening is the day would come when Iruka would end up actually making everybody spar. Naruto would look at Sasuke and Iruka would say that this would actually be a good matchup. He ends up pairing Naruto and Sasuke off against each other, and they end up having to pretty much have a little sparring session, right? Naruto would begin jumping up and down in his, monkey fighting style, and he would begin to pretty much like look at Sasuke, who just looks back at him and, he's angry. He's like, I'll show him, right? He immediately jumps into the air and goes, fire style, Phoenix Flame Jutsu, as a bunch of like fiery birds come at Naruto, and Naruto pretty much just uses a earth style and smashes his hands into the ground as, the earth comes up and it would just completely just catch all the fire, right? What ends up happening after this is Naruto jumps up into the air and using his wind style cloud jutsu just rides it to Sasuke's direction, who would be like, what? And when he does this, Naruto jumps off and grabs his normal staff, right? He jumps up into the air and Sasuke would pretty much end up holding a kunai out, trying to block it, doing his best. But Naruto slams his staff down and it just absolutely ends up whacking Sasuke in the face, sending him out of the circle, making Naruto the winner. So everybody just looks at Naruto and is all like, what? Like, he did that, right? Like everyone's just flipping out, absolutely losing their minds because of just how awesome Naruto is. Like, right? Get that through your head. Naruto is a beast. And it is just how it is, right? But eventually a couple more months would pass and it would kind of begin to become more and more clear to everybody that Naruto is kind of the top dog. Sasuke, after seeing that Naruto's all those, chakra transformation things, would end up wanting to try to learn more of that himself and would end up getting more in depth with, his lightning style and stuff like that, which he does have an affinity to. Starts working on, tree walking, water walking, and begins to get a lot more stronger over the next couple of months, just due to the fact that, he wants to beat Naruto and he has another reason to get stronger even faster. He begins not getting darker because it's not after Itachi, but it's just like he has a reason to train that's right in front of him every single day, right? Like if you had that in your face, you would definitely get to work. Naruto would have his little fangirl club and everything would be going for him. He lives in the same house that Minato and Kushina did, that little mansion that they had, and like he has so much money because he's inheriting their like money and wealth. And Naruto is like training with Hiruzen every other day. Naruto is living the life. Keep in mind, not only is he just training with Hiruzen, but he's actually training with the monkey sages themselves, literally learning monkey sage mode during these 6 months, which would be very, very easy. He would have ended up picking it up in about a week just due to the fact that he is just him. Like Naruto is him, right? But after learning these techniques as fast as he does and learning Monkey Sage Mode, Naruto would get another huge buff on everything. Like Monkey Sage Mode is no joke. It definitely has to be a bit overpowered, right? I mean, it's monkeys. And we've seen Konohamaru displayed, I believe. Konohamaru has Monkey Sage Mode. Not too positive about that. But let's just say that Naruto Sage Mode is pretty much 2 times stronger. Just because, we got to make Monkey Sage Mode a bit more overpowered, right? It's going to be like his OP state. But Naruto also gets to know all of the monkeys and like their different specialties and like their varieties and stuff like that. And he would actually train with Monkey King Enma whenever he's not training with Hiruzen with his taijutsu and like asking him for any pointers, helping him get almost as strong as Hiruzen during this time. And he would begin to get a lot more overpowered. By the end of these 6 months, he would pretty much be Kage level, literally. And eventually the day would come when Team 7 would finally get their team announced. The team would pretty much consist of Sakura, Naruto, and Sasuke, obviously, with Kakashi being the Jonin sensei. Seeing as I don't really have to explain much to you guys in terms of their introduction, seeing as most of it's gonna pretty much be the same, I think that it's more of a safer bet for us to just skip to the bell test. Let's skip to the action and get rid of all the unpleasantries, right? I think you guys might like that. Anyways, though, what ends up happening is Kakashi arrives a couple of hours late in basic Kakashi fashion. You know, we all know him. And he's like, oh, sorry, guys. A mosquito got in front of me and I just had to kill it. But like, he was really fast. So like, it took me like 3 hours to kill it. And the group would be like, seriously? A mosquito? But Kakashi shows his glove and there's like actually a crushed up mosquito there, and they're like, all right, I guess we believe you. Kakashi then goes on to pretty much explain the bell test, and he just pretty much tells them that they are free to come at him with intent to kill. Naruto, after hearing this, would say, are you sure about that? And you know, Kakashi would be like, yeah, Genin are not about to. And as he says this, Naruto just blitzes in and just bam, like hits Kakashi so hard, but you know, he uses the substitution jutsu and gets out just in the nick of time. And Naruto like pretty much shatters the log that he would have hit instead of Kakashi. Looking towards his direction of Kakashi, he's like, seriously? He's gonna run? Naruto just says, fine, I got a counter for that. He closes his eyes for an instant and just opens them. Sage mode is active, right? And he looks around and begins to pretty much sense everything. Like senses a shadow clone coming at him from Kakashi, and he just turns around and elbows it, just popping it instantly. He then looks around and finds the real Kakashi, and he pretty much ends up summoning his monkey, right? He turns into a staff and he rushes in towards the direction of Kakashi, spinning it, as Kakashi is shocked at the fact that Naruto knows where he is. Kakashi reveals his Sharingan and jumps in with 2 kunais in hands as he begins to leap into the air, spin, and begins to try to pretty much combat Naruto with his kunais, right? But Naruto at this point is just too strong and fast for Kakashi to even keep up. Kakashi pretty much gets hit one time in the shoulder, one time in the stomach, one time near the heart, and then one time in his forehead, and bam, he's just sent flying back, with Naruto appearing behind him and being like, gotcha, as you know, he would pretty much summon a really like quicksand kind of wall thing that would trap Kakashi in place, and Kakashi would be stuck there, literally not even able to like use hand signs, so he can't use a substitution. And Naruto looks at him and he's like, checkmate, buddy, as Kakashi is like, bro, what just happened? Naruto looks back at Kakashi and he's like, it was a monkey sage mode for you. As Kakashi is like, I had no idea that the Genin that I would be getting in my squad would be like even stronger than me. This has never happened. And Kakashi is just absolutely flabbergasted. He's too shocked to even think about the teamwork or any of that. And he's like, dude, you're in, you pass. Like, you might as well be a Jonin the way that you just handled me with my Sharingan out. I don't know why you're even in a Genin squad. He then goes over to, you know, the rest of the team. They come out and Sasuke gritting his teeth. He's like, I didn't even get to do anything. And, you know, he's angry, but it's like Naruto already won for them. They go to Hiruzen's office and Naruto is pretty much told that he's gonna just automatically be given the rank of Chunin alongside the squad, just because, you know, like, why not? And I mean, I'm gonna keep him again. He got to earn it. He's not just gonna be given it. I mean, if canon Naruto wasn't just given it, even though he was the strongest being in the world at the end, this Naruto's not just gonna be handed it to him. He needs to earn it in the Genin exam. I mean, the Chunin exams, all right? So basically what ends up happening after this is Team 7 just goes on a bunch of D-rank missions. And by a bunch, I mean like 1 week, like 3 D-rank missions. Because it becomes very apparent to Kakashi early on that Team 7 doesn't really need these missions, just due to the fact that, I mean, Naruto is at his level and Sasuke is at least Chunin level at the very minimum. Kakashi's pretty impressed by both of their performances and so decides to pretty much go on a C-rank mission, which would ultimately be the mission to pretty much protect the bridge builder Tazuna. This happens somewhat similar to what would happen in canon, with, you know, him disrespecting the squad and then meeting the squad up the very next day when he's not drunk and, you know, kind of being like, sorry about yesterday, right? They go on their little journey or whatever, journey to the west, and what ends up pretty much happening is Team 7 eventually gets ambushed by the Demon Brothers. This is not gonna matter because the second that both of them rush to ambush them, Naruto lunges at them and stiff arms both of them, just completely knocking them out. And after this happens, Kakashi didn't even get the chance to like pretend to die. So he just laughs it off and interrogates them and finds out that they're after Tazuna. And after this, he looks at Tazuna and he's like, so you set us up on a fake mission, did ya? And Tazuna's like, I'm sorry, I didn't have the money, but my grandson's gonna be so sad if you don't take me. And like his grandpa dies. And Kakashi's just like, fine. Right, they continue going on with the journey and eventually they would encounter Zabuza. This happens literally just like it does in canon. I mean, Kakashi, he looks at the squad and he's like, stand back guys, I'll handle this, right? He goes in and fights and he gets trapped. Come on, Kakashi, you can't like try to look like show off in front of your squad and then get captured, bro. Like it doesn't work like that, but I guess it does for him. And basically what ends up happening is they end up, you know, having their normal fight. And once Naruto sees that Kakashi's trapped, he just kind of begins to start chuckling and being like, all right, I guess I'll go save him. He then pretty much looks towards the direction of Zabuza, cracks his neck and knuckles, and he's like, all right, I guess it's showtime. As, you know, Sasuke looks at him and he's like, nah, you know what, Naruto, why don't you let me handle this? Naruto looks back at Sasuke and he's like, really? You think you could take him? And Sasuke's like, I know I could take him, Naruto. Get out of my way, loser. He pushes him and Naruto's like, geez, fine, dude. Sasuke, after doing this, would pretty much rush into the direction of Kakashi using a basic shuriken jutsu that Zabuza was very easily able to dodge. Suddenly, a bunch of Zabuza's shadow clones would come in, and Sasuke would barely be able to take those out. So this would kind of let Naruto know that he's not gonna do too well if he just lets him go in there like that, right? So Naruto basically rushes past Sasuke, who's like, Naruto, wait! But I mean, by that point, it's just like Naruto was getting ready to absolutely body this man. Like he was pretty much charging up a very, very powerful attack that was literally just a punch. He was just about to punch him, but with so much chakra infused in his fist that it would have literally ripped a hole through Zabuza's stomach, right? But basically what ends up happening is Haku, who would be in the shadows watching, would throw a Senbon like mid-air at Naruto, and you know, Naruto sees it coming at him in slow motion and backs up, barely being able to dodge it. Psych, he dodges it easily. He does like a backflip and he walks on the water, and Zabuza smiles and says, Haku, what are you doing here? And Haku just lets him know that that guy is not normal. Like there's something weird about him. But Naruto then begins to be like, all right, I guess I'll fight you, jumping up into the air over and over, getting into his fighting stance, and then kind of rushing in at Haku and throwing a punch so hard that even though Haku like kind of like countered it a little bit with her like forearm, his forearm, it still like left a pretty bad bruise that hurt and stung. And Naruto then grabbed his staff and he like rushes in and just begins to absolutely beat on Haku, not even giving Haku a moment's time to even try to activate the crystal mirror jutsu. But what Naruto would do is pretty much hit Haku away and then summon his, you know, his OP staff as he throws his, you know, his other one on the floor and pretty much rushes in at Haku as, you know, he comes in and hits Haku right in the stomach and makes the staff expand. So Haku sent flying into the air as high as he could go, like literally touching clouds. And Naruto just pretty much rushes up there with his cloud jutsu as he jumps down and pretty much like ends up clotheslining Haku, sending him crashing onto the ground into the water, mind you, as Haku's just KO'd, right? Like Haku falls down and there's no getting up from that. It's not happening. But basically Haku just gets completely taken out, and Zabuza pretty much ends up telling Naruto that unless he wants to die, I mean his teammate to die, he'll let him get out of there and hand over the bridge builder. And Naruto looks at Zabuza and he's like, that's not gonna happen. He closes his eyes and in an instant, Zabuza's head would pretty much be off of his body. Zabuza would have had his head cut off by his own sword. Naruto would have blitzed at him so unbelievably fast that Zabuza didn't even get the chance to sense Naruto's movement. Naruto would have grabbed his sword, cut his head off clean, and when Zabuza realized it, his head was literally on the floor. He was dead. Dead, I tell you, dead. And Kakashi just looks at Naruto with like his eyes wide, just in complete shock at the fact that this Genin was just able to do that, right? And he just grabs Kakashi and they go over towards Inari's, Tazana's house where, they meet Inari. And since Haku and Zabuza are both taken care of, they just really have to take care of Gato and his men when they show up inevitably. But Team 7 with full stamina should be more than enough for that. So no reason for us to continue with this Land of the Waves arc, right? Let's just skip over to the Chunin exams arc. Now this arc is pretty much going to be kind of the same, because when they enter the village, Naruto would have a little run-in with Konohamaru, and he begins to, chase him around in a playful manner, right? Konohamaru's running away, he bumps into Kankuro, Kankuro picks him up by the collar, Naruto looks at Kankuro and he's like, yo, let him go. Like, he sees Kankuro pick him up, and Konohamaru is like, Naruto, help me, this dude is like messing with me, tell him to let me go. And Naruto looks at Konohamaru, and Konohamaru is just like, my big bro is gonna put you down. And Naruto looks at Kankuro and he's like, hey, you think you could put the kid down? Jesus. Oh my god. All right, let's get back into the story. Okay, hold on. I might have one. Yeah, I had one. Two more. I promise, guys, it's not Rona. But anyways, continuing on with the story, Naruto looks at Kankuro and he's like, he's pretty much just thinking to himself, like, don't worry, Konohamaru, like, big bro got you, right? He's thinking of what he should do to like look as cool as possible. And while Kankuro is pretty much just holding Konohamaru up, Naruto is just like, all right, I got it. And in a flash, Naruto is behind Kankuro with a kunai to his throat as Naruto just looks back at Kankuro and he's like, you better put the third Hokage's grandson down unless you want to start the fourth great shinobi war. As Kankuro like hears this, he is sweating. He can feel the kunai tip touching his neck, and he drops Konohamaru and he's like, it won't happen again. And Naruto just looks at him and he goes, I bet it won't. But Tamari then goes, so you're the son of the Hokage? And Naruto's like, not quite. I'm just his big brother. And basically what ends up happening is Tamari's like, oh, so you're a bastard child. And Naruto looks at her and he's like, I guess you could say that. And he looks up towards the direction of Gaara, who's in the tree. And he just thinks to himself that kid over there is giving off a very like malicious, like demonic aura. Like it's strange. It's something that Naruto's never felt before. But he pretty much just keeps that in the back of his mind. And what essentially ends up happening is pretty much just nothing really. After this, Team 7 goes off and, they end up meeting back in the day of the Chunin exams, right? They walk in, and I'm going to say that Sasuke still gets challenged by Rock Lee. But the main person that he wanted to challenge this time was actually Naruto. And you guys might be like, why Naruto? And to that, I just have to say, let me explain. So obviously we know that Naruto was actually the rookie of the year just because he was even stronger than Sasuke. His scores were pretty much even higher than him. And he even was renowned for defeating Zabuza and Haku. He was the one who defeated them in the bingo book. So Naruto's kind of getting a little bit of notoriety for himself, but he doesn't care. He could not care less. But Rock Lee's like, fight me, Naruto. But Sasuke gets in between and he's like, nah, you're fighting me. Like, if you wanna fight the strongest of the team, you gotta fight me. Rock Lee gets excited and he's like, yes, okay, I will fight you, Sasuke. And they get into their fight, and Lee, keep in mind, he's still using weights. He's still just that much faster than Sasuke and absolutely bodies this man. Sasuke hasn't even unlocked the Sharingan yet, mind you, so he just gets absolutely fondled like a little boy. Pause. And basically what ends up happening is Naruto just watches Sasuke get absolutely beat up, as my guy would pull up and be like, Lee, what did I tell you about fighting without the what did I tell you about using that jutsu, Lee? And Lee looks back at him and he's like, guy sensei, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, right? And they walk off and Naruto's like, that was weird. He goes over to Sasuke trying to pick him up, and Sasuke's like, get off of me. I won't have help from somebody weaker than me. And Naruto looks at Sasuke and he's like, all right, Sasuke, look, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna stop acting as if you're better than me. That little god complex of yours isn't gonna get you anywhere. Maybe if you were to ask me something like, hey Naruto, care to spar, care to train me, care to help me with my training, sometimes maybe you would get ahead. But instead you sit there and think that you're better than everybody else, even though you're not. Even though you're literally probably the weakest member on our team. Sasuke grits his teeth and Naruto's like, sorry to have to give you a reality check, buddy, but you needed it. You're not as strong as you think you are. That kid just destroyed you, and it isn't because he's special, but it's because he trains harder than you. You're worthless if you have all that talent and you don't actually put it to use. And then, he walks away as Sasuke is like, don't walk away from me. He grits his teeth and he tries to hit Naruto, but Naruto dodges it and bam, uppercut to Sasuke, sending him flying at the wall. As people, they stop and look at the situation and they're like, what's going on? But Naruto looks back at Sasuke and he's like, stay in your own lane, kid. And Sasuke looks back at Naruto and he grits his teeth. He's like, right? He walks off and basically, eventually, they end up taking the exam. Of course, they pass it with flying colors. I mean, it's nothing that scary in the first place. So, it's very relatively easily passed. And what ends up happening following this is they go into the Forest of Death, right? In the Forest of Death, the encounter with Orochimaru would pretty much go down just like it would encounter. I mean, just like in canon, except for the fact that Naruto's actually there with them. This time around, Naruto would have taken a leak before going into the forest, just like a smart person would. And he did his business. He didn't really care. He's been raised by nature for so long that he just walked towards a bush and just zip, psst, you could just hear it. And Sakura and Sasuke looked at him and, Sakura is like trying to get a peek of, what he's packing. And Sasuke is like, yeah, let me see, he can't be better than me at everything, right? He looks over and he's like, God damn it, right? And Naruto is just like sitting there, doing his business. And he finally finishes up and eventually they get, kind of ambushed by a ninja who tried to take their scroll. But it didn't work because they realized that, he's weak. But eventually the real threat would arrive, which is of course Orochimaru. And once Orochimaru pretty much gets there, he tries to immediately begin to intimidate the team, flaring out his bloodlust to them, trying to make them fear him. But Naruto would simply be standing there as he's like, you call that bloodlust, dude? Let me show you mine. And he pretty much ends up like tapping his like shoulder, just like Tobirama would have, right? And like he lets out his aura of just strength and power, like that like Son Wukong aura is coming out in full effect right now. And Orochimaru feels like, he's like sent aback a bit and he's like, what? And Naruto's like, I did hear a bit about a guy who was, very powerful, very talented, but he ended up falling to the wrong side. Are you the guy that Hiruzen told me about? He's stretching, he's just like, He's like, all right, you're Orochimaru, aren't you? And Orochimaru's like, how did he? But Naruto just simply, begins to stretch a little bit more. He's like, yep, the old man taught me about you a little bit. Told me that you're a genius, but you didn't put it to good use. Let's see how much your genius compares to mine. As he rushes in towards the direction of Orochimaru, and Orochimaru jumps back and, he begins to pretty much hold both of his arms out in his face like an X to try to block the punch. But Naruto literally shatters his arm and with the strength that he's putting out. And Orochimaru gets sent back flying, having to regurgitate himself before his head got cut off by one of Naruto's kunai. And then suddenly Naruto appears in front of him again, pretty much with a staff, just beating on Orochimaru, just as Orochimaru is having flashbacks to his sensei Hiruzen, and he's like, how do you have that staff? Like, what? Because Naruto's using the adamantium staff and he's like stretching and he's like going all over the place, just ragdolling Orochimaru like it's nobody's business. And Orochimaru is just under so much distress, like he's literally getting beat on by some 16-year-old. Like Orochimaru cannot believe it. This is ludicrousy, right? And basically Orochimaru realizes that he gots to get out of there, because if he doesn't, he's gonna die. Like Naruto's not playing around right now. He's basically going all out as much as he possibly can, and Orochimaru is in utter fear. Like the aura that he can feel off of Naruto is something unlike anything he's ever felt before. It's pure, but it's so overpowering. It's like water. It's like a tsunami coming at you. That's like the kind of fear that Orochimaru is feeling. Like water in and of itself isn't dangerous, but when you provoke it and like when it's like a lot and it's like coming at you, like it's very, very dangerous. And that's pretty much what Naruto is. He's like adapting to Orochimaru's fighting style, and as he uses snake and stuff like that, stretches his neck out to try to like counter or like even do anything. Naruto is just so flexible in any fighting style and all the jutsus that he has that it's almost like fighting a younger Hiruzen with even more talent, with even more strength, with even more speed. It's insane. Naruto is him. He's that guy. Like, he's the guy that your girl literally tells you not to worry about. That's who Naruto is, right? And Orochimaru was terrified. He pretty much ends up using a reverse summoning jutsu to get out of there. And when he leaves, he's like, I'm not going back to that village. Like, UMF has got me effed up all the way because I'm not going back. Like, I'm not returning to that village at all. Like, unless I got another Kage, like another 4 Kage with me, I'm not going back. That dude is too strong. Like, he's literally shaking. He's quivering. And Naruto's back and he just looks at Sasuke and Sakura, and Sasuke just watched all of that like in fear. And Naruto looks at him and he's like, Sasuke. He waves his hand in front of him, and Sasuke looks at Naruto and he's like, how did you do that? And Naruto looks at him and he's like, oh, I fought the guy. He was pretty weak. And Sasuke, after hearing that Naruto thought he was weak, would just be like, there's no way. Like, I couldn't move. And Naruto just bodied him? Like, Sasuke just looks like down and he's like, I'm never gonna get my revenge. He just thinks that he's never gonna get his revenge. Like, he is so unbelievably weak compared to Naruto that Sasuke is beginning to get like feel bad. Like, he's starting to be like, I'm so inferior to him. He's beginning to have an inferiority complex instead of a god complex, right? And you know, the anger that he feels towards Naruto turns to jealousy because he knows that, I mean, what's he gonna do? Hit him with a jutsu, try to, you know, get him in a genju? It's not gonna work. Sasuke is just so many leagues behind Naruto that it doesn't matter. And pretty much what ends up happening is they go to the Genin exam and like they make it through the Chunin exam tower. And when they do so, they just rest for like 3 days until everybody gets there, and eventually they have their preliminary battles. Obviously, Naruto and Kiba is a complete stomp, and when Hinata fights off against Neji, Naruto's actually one of the people who gets involved and stops it. But other than that, there's no real changes. So I don't really see any point of covering that. So we're kind of just going to be skipping that little portion of the story and jumping straight into the 1 month time skip. During this time skip here, Jiraiya would actually come to the village. And it's at this point that Naruto would meet another person from his past, which is obviously Jiraiya, who, you know, kind of taught Minato everything he knew, right? Or not everything, but taught him a lot of things. And he probably has a lot of scrolls of Minato and stuff like that, is what I'm going under the assumption for this particular what if. When Naruto meets Jiraiya, Hiruzen pretty much tells Naruto that, you know, that's his godfather. Naruto ends up bonding a lot with Jiraiya over this 1 month break and time skip that we pretty much end up happening. And Jiraiya tries to tell Naruto about the nine-tailed fox. Naruto's like, nine-tailed fox? Like, what are you talking about? It's the first time I've ever heard of something like that. And Jiraiya like looks at the stomach, he sees the seal, and he's like, you have a chakra beast inside of you. Naruto looks at him and he's like, no, I'm totally kidding. I know all about it, like Kurama, right? And Jiraiya looks at him and he's like, yo, who's Kurama? And Naruto's like, oh, right. So my tailed beast, he has a name. His name is Kurama. Use it. And Jiraiya, after hearing this, is like, you talk to your bro. What? And Naruto was like, Kurama. Kurama switches places with him and his eyes turn red and he's like, hey, Jiraiya, you know, in like a deep voice. And Jiraiya is completely taken aback. He's like, there is no way that this kid already tamed the Nine Tails. And I'm going to explain to you guys how this happened, right? So Naruto pretty much ended up taming the Nine Tails when he went to the land of the clouds. He ended up meeting Killer Bee. He learned a couple of things from him, and Naruto and Killer Bee are actually great friends. There goes that slow car that just got in the way of my video. Sorry if you guys had to hear that slow engine that just drove by. But you know, some people like to flex their cheap, like little $3,000 cars off. So yeah. Anyways, though, what ends up pretty much happening after this is we end up getting a situation where Jiraiya's like, so I guess there's nothing I can teach you then, buddy. But Naruto's like, is there any jutsus that my father used to use that you could potentially show me? And Jiraiya's like, oh, do I got a jutsu for you? He ends up teaching him the Rasengan. And once Naruto sees it, he's like, wait, that's... And Jiraiya's like, exactly, it's a Rasengan. But Naruto looks at him and he's like, you did that by like completely letting, he pretty much just begins to explain how the Rasengan works and all the steps to it. And Jiraiya's like, you already know how I did it? And Naruto was like this, right? And in Goku-like fashion, when he just copied the Kamehameha wave, he just absolutely shreds doing the Rasengan. He creates a Rasengan and he's like, this is incredible. Like, I can feel so much concentrated power coming off of this. I wonder if I could... And he begins to pretty much mix more chakra into it, which is an element type. And he creates the Rasen Shuriken. And Jiraiya's like, what? You know what I mean? Like, he's losing it. Naruto just strolled, like, could you imagine? Like, it took you years to learn this jutsu, right? Like, it took you so long. You took so much time. This kid just comes in and he's like, oh, so you learned how to play basketball in like 10 years, you said? And you're like, yeah, like I've been practicing every day for like 5 hours, you know, that's why I never miss. This kid comes up, grabs the ball and just boom, 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 literally never misses. Like, that's pretty much what just happened. Like, you would feel like dog, you know, you would feel like dog crap, because it's like this kid who never trained a day in his life just pulled up and just did everything that you could do, but better. After this, Jiraiya is just like, all right, there's literally nothing to teach you. And he begins to think like, wait, there is one thing. Naruto's like, what? And Jiraiya shows him a scroll that Minato entrusted to him about the steps of the flying Raijin. And Jiraiya just tells him that he was going to learn this jutsu, but he never got the time, seeing as he was so busy working on his, you know, his books. And Naruto looks at Jiraiya and he's like, what books? Jiraiya smiles and he's like, let me show you. And he's like, you want to come do research with me? Naruto's like, sure, I don't see why not. I don't have anything happening for the next couple of days. And Jiraiya takes him to hot springs to just completely peek on women. Naruto in the original would be like, oh, like, what are you doing, dude? But since he's 16 and, you know, like 16-year-olds are going to do what 16-year-olds do. So he sees the girls and he gets a nosebleed and he's like, awesome. You know, he's like, this is great. Like, I always knew like we had to have some sort of like connection, right? And Jiraiya looks back at him and he's like, yeah. Naruto begins reading his first book and he falls in love with the series. He's like, Jiraiya, I need a signed copy of all of them. And Jiraiya does that, but he even gives him early access to his next book. And Jiraiya's like, take care of it. Don't show it to nobody. And Naruto is livid. Like, he's like so excited. He's like, oh my God, this is incredible, right? And, you know, eventually their time together would pass. It'd be about a month and the Chunin exams would go down. Obviously, this time around, there would be no attack on Konoha. And the fight between Naruto and Neji would be so one-sided because Naruto would just be like, I guess it's time to try this out. He throws a kunai and, you know, he teleports behind Neji. Neji turns around and he's like, how did you? And Naruto, bam! Rasengan to the back of Neji, just sending him crashing onto the floor. In the original, an uppercut was enough to take him out. So a Rasengan to his back. Bro, this man Neji is not walking for a month straight. I don't want to hear it, regardless of this medical ninjutsu crap. Like, it's not happening. So Naruto just bodies Neji, right? And basically what ends up happening after this is we get a really interesting situation where we see the fight between Sasuke and Gaara go down, and Sasuke would have unlocked the Sharingan with Kakashi after training for a month. But when he uses the Chidori and, you know, Gaara freaks out and he was about to run out of the stadium, Naruto teleports in and he kicks him back in and he's like, your fight isn't there. Tamari and Kankuro are freaking out. They're like, it's happening. And, you know, at this point, Kurama inside of Naruto's like, let me speak to him, right? And, Naruto's like, all right, Kurama, do your thing. And Kurama's like, he's all like, what's the name of the first-tailed beast? It's like, the sand guy, Shukaku. He's like, Shukaku, calm down, let the boy go. And Shukaku's like, nah, like I don't want to, like screw this village, I'm gonna destroy everything. And Kurama like flares out his chakra for a moment, and he's like if you don't do it, I'm gonna make sure your reincarnation progress takes more than just 10 years. Shukaku, after hearing that, goes away, and Sasuke and Gaara have a real decent battle. But since Gaara's already wounded, like actually no, he wouldn't be wounded because Shukaku's his chakra would be able to heal him. So I'm just gonna be saying that they have a fair battle and Sasuke wins, because I think personally that if Sasuke and Gaara would have fought, I think Sasuke generally would have won this battle. I mean, we saw Lee perform extremely well. I definitely see Sasuke doing better after copying his taijutsu. Oh, ooh, he wouldn't have had the Sharingan. Ooh, ain't that interesting? Let's say he copied Kakashi's fighting style, and he just tried to mimic Lee, I guess. Let's say Kakashi had Sasuke watch Mike Guy fight, and he copied his fighting style instead, right? So that's how he's actually gonna win. Oh, I need air. It's hard to talk for 53 minutes straight with no breaks. It's very tedious to do this, guys. I don't recommend talking for this long. It's strenuous on your voice, it's strenuous on your like air, but it kind of helps out a little bit because like your air like intake and like output, like you kind of begin getting really good at not breathing and like taking like really short bursts of air that I'm pretty sure you guys might hear just a little bit, but the pop filter might save me. So yeah. Anyways, though, I'm gonna be saying that after this battle, it's pretty much just Sasuke versus Naruto, which is just a complete one-sided stomp. Like, bro, Naruto is pretty much as OP as he would have been in the land of the like, not even land of the nothing, bro. This Naruto was even stronger than like peak Naruto. After this, Naruto literally just stays in the village. Hiruzen is still the Kage. The time skip literally happens and Sasuke doesn't run off because Orochimaru doesn't come back. Eventually though, the Akatsuki group would try to go after Naruto after a long time, right? And the village does end up having to help save the sand and, you know, help actually rescue Gaara, because it's like, you know, Gaara's under attack and, you know, he is the Kazekage, but no, I'm gonna say that he isn't the Kazekage because he never changed his way because Naruto never ended up like folding him. So Gaara just stayed evil. And when he was kidnapped, the village didn't care much because like it's not their fault that their Jinchuriki got taken away, right? So we're gonna say that that's not their problem, that the Kage of that village is gonna be like Kankuro or Tamari or something like that. No, let's go with Tamari. Tamari is the current Kage. She's trained a lot harder, you know, she worked up for it. And, you know, her and Shikamaru have their whole little relationship thing going, kind of. And basically after all this time would have passed, eventually Naruto would continue with his training alongside Jiraiya, alongside Kakashi, alongside Sasuke, and they both would have eventually hashed the beef out, with Sasuke just coming to terms with the fact that Naruto's stronger and he's cool with that. You know, he's not going to surpass him anytime soon, so he had to just get over himself and eventually learn to accept that he's just stronger than him, right? And basically what ends up happening is let's see, basically what ends up happening is they become pretty decent friends, and eventually the day would come when the Akatsuki wants to capture Naruto, and instead of Jiraiya going off on a wild goose chase and dying, what ends up happening is instead we have this moment where like Pain actually ends up arriving to the village, and he's like he's like Naruto, I will capture you. But Naruto can sense the weird, strange chakra anomaly happening in the air, and using his cloud, he was able to get up there and, you know, get up there pretty damn fast, mind you, like faster than Pain was able to utter the word Shinra Tensei, you know, blowing everything up. And Naruto just comes in and bam, whacks him with a Rasengan. The Diva Path gets Rasengan. And he was absorbing chakra, so he was not focused on like using his ability, so he literally shatters the Diva Path, and the other paths of Pain are on like the ground. They just watch like the Diva Path get absolutely like destroyed, right? But Naruto rushes down, like jumping in with the staff, Sage mode activated, as he smacks one of them, shattering it, slams a Rasengan into another one, grabs them both by the arm, throws them up into the air, and literally plays baseball with them with a staff, right? And just shatters them. He then grabs one of the rods of the rods that Pain uses and tracks Nagato down, and he Tak no Jutsus him. Finally, a Tak no Jutsu happens. Nagato comes back to the village with him, and he begins to tell him all about the Akatsuki. And once Naruto learns about this said fact, he's like, interesting. So, the Akatsuki's planning to capture all-tailed beasts. He thinks about his buddy Killer Bee, and then he thinks about Sasuke, and he's like, okay, so Sasuke, Killer Bee. And pretty much the reason that Sasuke is going to go fight Itachi this time around is going to be because Naruto isn't there to stop him. But I don't think he would have stopped him, but I think he would have gone with him, and he would have definitely saved him from Obito. But I'm going to be saying that as this is all happening, Killer Bee was currently in the process of trying to be captured by Deidara Sasori and Hidan and Kakuzu. 4 people to capture one-tailed beast. So 4 people. It's going to be a lot harder, but it's still going to happen, right? And basically what ends up happening is they go to the village, and Naruto would actually end up pretty much deciding to just fly over there. So he does. Using his cloud, he's able to make it to the village of, hidden in the clouds, say hi to Raikage A, and he's like, where's B? The Akatsuki are coming after him. A huge explosion can be heard, and Naruto throws his kunai as far as he possibly could, teleporting to it, grabbing it mid-air as he stops Hidan's scythe like mid-air and like rips it from him, grabbing his bow staff as he spins it in the air, and he's like, hey B, been a while, huh? And Killer Bee looks back at Naruto and he's like, yeah, sure has, Naruto, you ready to go wild? And he begins to rap. He's like, these men, like, they crazy, they don't know style. They are lazy because they are not childs and they are grown adult children, right? I'm sorry, I can't rap. That was so cringy, but basically he pretty much ends up getting back to back with Naruto, and both of them get into their like OP stage, right? Naruto goes into KCM2. He gets like this really cool ring around his head when he activates it because he's the reincarnation of Son Wukong. I know I said it's not going to be like God of High School, but I think that it looks really sick. So we're going to give that to him just because why not? And Killer Bee and Naruto absolutely fold these dudes. They killed them. Those Akatsuki members, they're dead. So now it's pretty much just Obito and Konan who are left in the Akatsuki. Actually, not even that, but literally just Obito. And at this current moment, he would be capturing Sasuke and telling him the truth about Itachi. Which, once Sasuke figures this out, he's like, I had no idea. Right? And he's like, I'm gonna destroy the Leaf Village. Or so he would say if Naruto wasn't a thing. But since he has the help of Obito, he thinks that he might have a better chance. And after getting the boost of the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan from having the surgery done, he then ends up being like, all right, I'll destroy the village with you. Like, I'll help you, right? And basically Sasuke and Obito would end up trying to contact Orochimaru, being like, hey, like, help us take down the village. And Orochimaru looks at Sasuke, he licks his lips, and he's like, God, I would have loved to have your young Uchiha body, but I decline. I'm never going back to that village, not with that kid there. He is way too powerful, and you're all underestimating him. Naruto at this point is 19, mind you. He's had so much time to get even more OP, with his flying Raijin, his Rasengan, his monkey sage mode, his fighting. Literally, he would have had so much more time to meditate, get in tune with his body, his mind, his spirit, get so OP to the point where when Sasuke and Obito arrive, I'm sorry to say this, but it's so bad. Have you guys ever, like, it's kind of like when you complete all the quest missions, like you do everything except for the main missions and then you blow through them. Like, you're so powerful from doing all the side quests and like paying to win and like leveling your character by buying it with real money, that when you actually face like the boss, it's so easy because you already have all the OP tools to do it, that Naruto just blows through Sasuke and Obito, and Naruto finally convinces Sasuke to chill out with that destruction stuff. He kills Danzo because it's like he's not going to have that corruption slide, and he pretty much ends up taking over the mantle of Hokage. Psych! He's not going to do that. Jiraiya is the one who actually ends up having to take that mantle over, because Naruto's a free man. He pretty much travels the world after this, much like Saejima would have, and he's just grateful to the village because he finally found so much out about his history, his parents. He got a lot stronger in this village, and overall he's very, very grateful to Hiruzen because he was the one who gave him Monkey Sage Mode, a staff, taught him a bunch of things, his inheritance, and now Naruto never has to worry about money again, and he's just gonna be this dude with like insane riz that's just gonna go around impregnating multiple women, leaving his children all over in different lands, and they grow up to be absolute monsters. And it's just, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's literally it. This is what if Naruto was the reincarnation of the Monkey King's son Wukong. So if you guys enjoyed this video at any point, literally any point whatsoever, slap the like button. Seriously, it helps so much. So much. We YouTubers wouldn't ask you guys if it wasn't for the fact that it genuinely helps us. So if you guys are feeling nice, maybe also leave a comment, seeing as it helps with engagement. But with all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, it has been your boy Xehther, and I am out. Peace.